Hey, good morning. It's Karen Hines here again with Solutions Mix Marketing. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the jobs I've had and really just to encourage you. We've heard it before. It's not where you start, it's where you are today and where your ambitions are for tomorrow. So you will you will be able to take a few nuggets, I hope, from my experiences that I have had, and just know that you're not necessarily alone in maybe the frustration you have if you are not in the position where you want to be right now. As I've said it before, that when we bring things to God, He has an amazing way of just making it all work out. And you'd be just so surprised. So I've written a few things down because I kind of wanted to keep things a bit in order. I've left out tons. Listen, I have worked at, I'm sure, well over 50 places in the 33 years I've been in this country. And I started working before I came to Canada. So I had a babysitting job before I came to Canada. I came when I was 15, but I had a babysitting job taking care of two badass boys, Joseph and Champ. And I'm so happy for their mom, my godmother at the time, that she never had to do that, really, but it allowed me to be away from danger. I grew up in the ghetto, I grew up in poverty, and she gave me a out. So it was summertime, school is out, instead of just, laying around, I was able to, go to their house. And to me, it wasn't like I was doing any work because I was just a part of the family having fun. Her family is high on education. And, these boys, have made me so proud. And, just it just shows you that if someone sees something in you early and start to give you the right type of fuel, you actually can take that with you on in life. And those ambitious qualities that were instilled early, I thrive to execute them even today. So here we go. All right. So one of my first set of jobs, as I said, was babysitting, but I didn't talk about the Jamaica experience. One of the first set of jobs that I acquired in Canada was babysitting. And again, I left two boys and I came into babysitting with two boys. My first two babysitting jobs were two boys in my neighborhood. I grew up in Meadowvale, Mississauga. One of the boys was Charles and one was Aaron. And at the time, it was $20 a night. It was the norm. But let me tell you, $20 was a lot of money. And especially for me because I was getting $5 for my allowance. Like 15, 16, $5 for my allowance. And listen, this is after, doing my house chores. And that was cleaning like 4 bathrooms, 2 living rooms, a rec room. Whether you're cleaning snow in the winter, cutting grass in the summer, I was doing that. And my household was like 7 adults. But, only God, I I appreciate, the $20 so much. So it allowed me to, have my own pocket money to do whatever I wanted. I was buying makeup at the time, so Shoppers Drug Mart was my friend. And back then we had Woolco, not Walmart, Woolco. Similar department style store. Some of you may remember it. And so it was between there and Shoppers Drug Mart going to get, my, ladies stuff and also my makeup. Anyways, my first job away from babysitting was at the Rabba in my neighborhood. And this was at Winston Churchill and Battleford in Mississauga. I never lasted long. I was too slow on the cash machine. I was doing deli and lotto. Goodness gracious, it truly prepared me for what's next. I got a job in a plastic factory, excuse me, where my cousin worked. It was fast and it was more simpler. For me, it was just physical. This was not close to home though. I did the weekend since this was while I was in high school. The bus system was rough then, like really rough. Okay, if you lived in Brampton or Mississauga in the 90s, you know what I'm talking about. I worked at Tompkin and Derry, so in the mid 90s, the distance from Meadowvale Town Center was a challenge. Scheduled 2 hours just to travel. Strangely, I never hated the snow at the time. However, on heavy snow days, it made my travels harder. I was always on the lookout for better. I ended up working at Tim Hortons and McDonald's at the same time. The juggling was a craft. Tim Hortons offered me full time, plus I loved my manager so much. His name was Maury. He was a Lebanese guy. He had a missing teeth, but he always had a smile on his face. Big up, Maury, you're the best. He was like my daddy at work. I learned so much. I also helped out at another store he owned nearby in the same Meadowvale area where I lived. I was one of the fastest workers in no time, so I was able to assist on the morning shift. At times. The morning shift is a serious rush hour. You had to be very quick, mannerable, and have a great smile. This was no issue for me. Smile was always on my face. College started, so I needed to work part-time. I moved to Square One to live on my own as life at home got complicated. I will share that in another video. It was way too sensitive. It's way too sensitive of an issue for this video. I got into a Tim Hortons near where my new location was without a hitch, as my manager gave a sparkling reference. I worked on my days off from school. On the occasional times I would get off early and I was back up. I was in the ECE program at George Brown Nightingale campus. I was blessed to have a job that was flexible so I could be in school. I have always loved children, so when I never got in the RN program due to my math, it was the only fitting thing to head into in that direction. I moved back to Brampton for a short while. I came to Sheridan to finish my program. I had my job still, however, I moved to Streetsville, Tim Hortons. Life continued, and I got something with my church as a teaching assistant at the Meadowvale Christian Academy with Miss Angela. At this time, I had moved back to Square One. I found something with Patty's Good Food, more pay, and set hours. At my job at the church school, it was, I guess you'd call it break shift. So you do 4 hours, then you had a break of like 4 hours, and then you would come back to finish your next 4 hours. For me, that was a hassle because I wasn't driving my own vehicle at the time, and I lived at Square One, and the Christian Academy was in Meadowvale. So the bus journey home to do a few things and to come back, it was really tiring. Anyways, life kept on moving, and I was now set on getting ahead as much as I could. By the way, my backup through it all was braiding. I did my first braid in Jamaica at 13. Over time with practice, I got faster and neater. Not before long, I started working customer relationship jobs with temp agencies, and I worked with several. This gave me a taste of so many different industries. I worked with an auto insurance company. It's where I first learned that young guys under 25 pays more than females of the same age. Yes, young guys, because they're taught to be speeders. That's why. I worked at Astra Yogurt doing their invoice filing. It's funny now, God works. Currently, I almost take a skill from each of those places I acquired and one in the different jobs, and they have helped me in so many ways while cultivating my own business. Friends, just know that God knows the plan He has for your life. While having these jobs, I never stopped searching for more opportunity. I got into many different sales, self employment positions, and opportunities. I've done work with Yves Rocher, Avon, Mary Kay, Prime America. I've been in travel agency, soft water systems, household products. There are so many, I can't even remember them all. Life continued lifing. I got into acrobat marketing after I attended SMP Data University. Every opportunity only led me to something better. I then went on to Bell Canada, spent a while in the residential sales department. Then I went to FNF Canada doing service for title insurance clients. I spent my longest work years with this company. But with everything, there is an end, some for the better, even though we don't always see it as such in that moment. I then went on to Royal Bank, and by this time I was already married with 2 children. I knew that I would want to be with them, but making an income while doing so wasn't quite straight in my head. So the yearning was there, but configuring how it would work, that I didn't have as organized in my head. At FNF, I had my first child, so I had a year of maternity. And I used that year to get a machine, and I made decor pillows, towels. I also got into making floral arrangements, baskets, and candles. I was not great, but my work colleagues supported me and encouraged me. I made lunches for my work colleagues and kept busy. So every day there was a different special. Curry goat today, tomorrow stewed chicken. Listen, I was not afraid. It was just me and my firstborn girl, and we were just rocking it. Still, I feel I had my idea what I was gonna do to be able to stay. I didn't have an idea what I was gonna do to stay with my children and make money. So at RBC, I made lucky bamboos after a girlfriend had showed me where I could get them for wholesale. And at RBC and Light Bell, we had these huge desks. And so I just on top of one of my filing cabinet, it was just covered with bamboo. So all the workers knew where they could get their lucky bamboo. And at the time, I had them for I think like $15, the little square ones. And I made them with the river rocks, and they were nice. I had a taste of feng shui, and I just was addicted to the lucky bamboo. I'm still am today. But that was the birth of it all. Anyways, that girl that told me about the wholesale bamboos became my business mentor and one of my son's godmothers, Shanna McFarlane, very smart girl. By the way, she has a book, Leverage Fair and Achieve Success. You want to hear her story from living on the streets to owning the streets. She is a monster of a lady right now, very humble, but a monster in her acquisition of wealth, and just to see where she came from. She's never wasted any time. She's all about education, education. And I learned so much from her. So big up Shanna McFarlane. Anyways, so RBC was where I realized I needed to be with my children. And after I spent this time there, I was stressing, and that chapter ended. Anyways, shortly before I did, I had started to do part-time, type daycare at home. I also still kept doing a few gift ideas. I started to work at Listen Up Canada, Hearing Healthcare Center, and I was the office admin working under the audiologist Angela, who was my dear friend at the time and my first daughter's godmother. Someone was helping me with the daycare, and I still did my bamboos. Things were getting shaky at Listen Up. Before the announcement, I had started distributing my lucky bamboos in several of the hasty markets across Brampton. Wow, only God knows how he was able to step in at the nick of time. Listen Up Canada closed my location where I was working. Business decisions, that they have to make. Yep, and I was laid off. My girlfriend was placed to run another clinic location. They already had an admit, and later she went on to Canadian Hearing Society, where she spent her last working days till losing her fight to cancer. R.I.P. Angela, gone but not forgotten. Love you much. Life kept on lifing, and while I had dedicated my next move to choose full speed with my daycare, I created a booklet, and all the forms parents needed to sign, giving me permission to take their children out to parks and other places. I was blessed, no parent objected. I had the max 5 children, and I was able to do fun things with my own children at the same time. My parents loved that our Solutions Mix Kids Play Learn offered a complete, enriched experience for their children when they were left in our care. God did it again. Oh, by the way, I never remembered to mention, I did driveway sealing during my mat leave as well. Yes, I bought the tar buckets at Canadian Tire, did flyers with Brothers Printing, got my paint rollers, and yes, I left my baby with Daddy and her grandma, loaded up my van, and did that before any of the daycare stuff or other opportunities. Listen, I am a firm believer, if there is a will, there is a way. I'm here if you have questions. Please do not hesitate. My passion is helping small entrepreneurs to kickstart their own. Stay safe and stay blessed.